I say give it to them. Walk away.
Yeah, and
you'll have more cash in your pocket. You could buy gold and silver and be ready to go.
There you go, and go out there when the market really collapses and everything really does bottom out.
Exactly.
Go out there
now,
and pay cash for something.
Yeah, I have one more question for Bob.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing a lot about this down in Texas. They have a lot of this a barter system where you buy. They won't accept FRNs and things like that. But here's my thing. So I go out and buy silver coins for, $21 a piece.
Uh-huh.
So I put cash out, and now I go to the store, and I spend these things, but they still say $1 stamped on them. How am I ahead?
No, they don't. No, they don't. I'll answer that.
Still Eagles do.
Well, still
Eagles do.
Still, okay, but you're combining two different things here. Let me make the distinction between the two. All right, okay. Rick, hang on a second. 800-313-9443. Bob Chapman solo today. No Robbie Noel. And seriously, folks, we know what we're doing over here. We want you to take advantage of the Bob Chapman special. Call the office. All right. I told the caller, I think, to hang on, and he hung up, and I forgot what he asked. Do you remember, Bob?
We were in a discussion concerning walking away from mortgages.
Yes.
And the answer was yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like I said, folks, I mean, why on God's green earth would you want to hold on to a piece of property, be locked into a contract, and just pick an arbitrary figure, say $200,000. Okay, you look at that mortgage, at the term of that mortgage, you're going to pay the shyster banksters $350,000, $400,000, whatever it is, whatever your interest rate is, whatever the term of the loan is. So you're going to work, say, 30 years to pay that puppy off, and what is the thing going to be worth after you pay off the mortgage? And that's what you have to consider. I mean, this is something that people have a hard time getting their minds wrapped around. I mean, would you go to a grocery store, folks, and spend an hour shopping, throw all the stuff in there, and then go through the checkout, and they bag all the stuff up, and they only give you half of the bags, and the rest of the stuff goes back on the grocery shelf? Would you put up with that? Well, of course you wouldn't. So why would you want to put up with a 30-year term note that your property value has been debased, and you still got to pay taxes and property taxes and everything else? Why would you want to stick to it? Yeah, it's a contract, but you know what? The banks are getting a lot of properties back, and they don't know what to do with the things. And they aren't renegotiating. There's no renegotiating because they know one thing for certain. Interest rates are going to go back up. No, that's true. They're not loaning money. They're not doing refis right now to their own peril. I mean, Bob, what are they going to do? Take the houses back and sell them on a market that doesn't exist?
That's right. And if interest rates go up, it'll be even worse, and the inventory will get higher, and the inventory is phony because the banks aren't putting all their properties on the market. And so, if they say there's an eight-month supply of homes, it could be 11 months or 12 months. We don't know because they're hiding them. They're lying.
Let's go back to the phones here. We're going to roll these calls in quick succession. There's a lot of people who want to talk to you today, Bob. George in Texas. Hello, George.
How you doing, Bob? How you doing, John?
Hi.
Hi there.
With Timothy Geithner, I have one concern. I hope they don't do what they did to Timothy Geithner, what they did with Madoff. Just give him a plea deal and just send him off to jail and not have an actual trial or an actual court record.
There was going to be...
Well, they probably will, but I don't think it's going to get there. The Illuminists don't go to jail, and Madoff was a low-level person, and he was in a scam with the CIA and the Mossad, and that's why they had a closed-door trial, because there were hundreds of people involved in that scam, and they didn't want anybody else going to jail. This is much different, but I think what they'll do is if they find him guilty, they'll just fine him. They won't send him to jail.
All right, and question number 2. I talked to a wife whose husband is in the Russian army, supposed to be dispatched to the United States. And her husband is a senior officer, and some of the senior officers in the Russian army who were in Afghanistan are kind of getting a little concerned because Afghans had guns when the Russians invaded, when the Soviet Union at the time invaded Afghanistan, and they're kind of concerned because the United States is far more better armed than the Afghans were, and they had a hard time trying to conquer them.
Bob?
Well, I don't see the U.S. conquering Afghanistan, and I think it's a police action, a war, whatever you want to call it, which is deliberately set up to last a long, long time. And, you know, Hillary Clinton said it's a 40-year war. Well, there's a good reason for that. Geopolitical position and $200 billion worth of heroin a year.
But can you see the Russian the senior commanders being a little worried about coming to the United States with armed citizens?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think so, because they know even if they have a high kill ratio, they still can't win. I mean, look what happened on the Eastern Front. The Russians were poorly trained and poorly armed. They were just thrown into the breach during the Second World War, and the training and the weapons of the Germans were far superior, and the kill ratio averaged 20 to 30 to 1. And even at that rate, the Russians kept on coming, and they took Berlin. And that'll happen in America. The death toll will be terrible among the civilian population, but the bad guys are going to lose, and they'll be out of business permanently.
All right. Well, thank you, Bob. Thank you, John.
All right, George. Appreciate it. Jim in Oregon. Hello, Jim. Hi, Jim.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. Hey, I was just first wanted to comment on that. You were talking about foreclosures and notes and all. There's quite a bit of info on the web about produce the note. Many times lenders cannot produce the note, and it works out to someone's advantage to just start paying the note and stay there until they can come up with a real note that shows that you owe them the money, because very often they can't.
Well, and that we got to take this break, but I will say this. If you're going to walk away from your mortgage, it takes them some time to get you out of there, and you may want to go the route of going to court once they do the foreclosed proceedings and say, okay, show me the paper, the note that actually shows ownership. Hang on, we'll be right back.
You're tuned in to the National Intel Report, the Real Talk Radio Show.
By the way, caller, hold on a second here, because the question was asked of me about, we got stuff going on here in Texas. You know, am I going to be able to take a silver coin into these people and buy stuff? No. If you go to opencurrency.com, this is the barter network. This is where the rounds are coming from. We can't call them coins because it's the coin of the realm, and they're minted stuff, you know, the stuff that's not worth anything. This stuff is. But there is a barter network of 26,000 retailers and service providers across the country that will take your silver, your AOCS coin, and you can purchase hotel rooms and, well, you know, what I'm saying here, you can make hotel reservations, flight, cruise reservation. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. So go to the opencurrency.com, and I think that'll go a long ways in describing what they're doing here. This is a private barter system. They're only dealing in silver, you're not going to get, trust me on this one, you're not going to walk into Wally World with your walking liberty and get them to give you any more than face value for that coin. It just ain't going to happen. But on the other hand, the AOCS stuff, you will, because they understand the value of silver. So I would suggest you go to opencurrency.com and go up there and read about it. And that'll explain everything about it. George, in Texas, you had something else? George?
This is Jim in Oregon. I had a question for Bob.
Okay, go ahead.
Bob, I know that you live out of the country, and John, I know you live in the country. I have two sons that are 19 and 21.
Yeah.
and I'm seriously considering leaving the country. But I have a lot of mixed emotions about it. I wonder if Bob, if you could talk about the pluses and minuses of leaving the United States with what's coming. I'd like my sons to be able to get a job and have a life, and they're just at that point where they're starting out, and we were having really bad unemployment here, and I'm kind of worried, you know.
Well, first of all, you've got to have capital, because if you're going to go to another country, they're not going to allow you to work unless you start a business. So
I have quite a bit of capital. That's not a problem.
Okay. Well, what businesses have you done, or what business are you in now?